Welcome to the Round Table Podcast. We're here today for, I don't know what episode this is.
This is 102.
102 episode. Okay, wow. All right. So, guys, we welcome you guys to the podcast. I know that people have to still come on. I guess we're sharing those links. Guys,
a lot of people.
But I'm talking about in terms of the phone, okay. We're doing the sharing out. Yeah. So it takes time for people to click in. Yeah. But even though we'll still go forward and get into this topic. But guys, before we do that, we always tell you to like and share this podcast. If you're on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook, if you're tuning in through YouTube, we would love for you to like and share, subscribe. On our YouTube page, as well as our IG, as well as our website. We would love for you can actually watch us on our website. And all of those links should be up where you can see those links to the different platforms that you can go on to check us out, guys. And again, we would love for you to share. Remember, we come on every Sunday at 4. We used to say 4:30. I guess I'm gonna even sketch that. Take that out. We've been coming on at around 4:40, 4:45 in that area, but more 4:40ish. That you can check us out on these streams. These at 4:40. And guys, we have I think we have a pretty good topic to talk about today. Is informational. And something that our people, in terms of Black people, need to really know if they actually care about purchasing land, whether it be farmland or whatever land that you feel that you need to own. You know what I mean? But just ownership of some land is an actual good thing. You know what I mean? I think even T.I. was mentioning that when he was telling different, before we get into who the people on the panel, T.I. was talking about, listen, stop buying the Louis Vuitton and put all that stuff up. Get you some land, own some land. He was saying, own some land, Black folks. And I respect that so much about owning something. But I digress from that. Let's go ahead and get into the panel and see what's everybody's week been like. You know how we do. We do this before we start, just to ask people about how their day.
So how you guys day? Lovely T, RW3, everybody.
Can they hear us?
Oh goodness! Do I always have to start us off?
Ladies first.
Jeez. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome to our guest. I am looking forward to the topic. Both of you ladies seem like you have some very interesting, dynamic backgrounds. So looking forward to the conversation. My week was lovely. Like I didn't have to go to work since Wednesday night, although I did do 2 hours outside of a grocery store ringing a bell for the Salvation Army, which was work related, but also volunteering. So that was yesterday in the cold, but yes, I did it. So my sweet potato pie turned out phenomenal.
Oh, great. Mine's did too.
Hey, it's always good when it come out right. So it's been a great weekend, and now it's time to get back to work.
That's right.
Lovely T, how many people affirmed that your pie was good? How many people besides you?
Everybody.
Everybody. Numerically. Okay, numerically, how many is that?
4.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
4. I have a small family. We Zoom. So my family is in like Jacksonville, Florida, Minnesota. We just all Zoomed as far as you know, for our Thanksgiving gathering. So it was only my intimate household that was, you know, privy to my cooking. So 4.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and get involved. Lady B, who
I wanna introduce our guests. We have 2 awesome guests here. I don't want to butcher your name. I'm gonna say T. Is that okay? All right, so we got T. Awesome. We got T on the panel. We got Piper on the panel. So I'm just gonna give a little glimpse, read a couple lines. I'll let them kind of more introduce themselves. But T, she is a co-director at Keep Growing Detroit. It's a nonprofit organization who operates a 2-acre farm in historic Eastern Market and facilities several nationally recognized urban farming programs, including the Grown in Detroit Cooperative and the Garden Resource Program. So awesome. That is great, T. So I'm gonna kind of give you a glimpse on Piper. Piper, she is an art and culture organizer and a hip hop activist with focus on entertainment, justice, environmental and climate justice, education, justice, the makerspace movement, and food justice communities. So awesome. Thank you guys for being here with us on the round table.
Yes, we appreciate for coming on for this topic. And you're going to talk about what the topic we're talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
What is this topic?
Well, in this episode, we're going to be discussing Black farmers and those who wanted to purchase land were denied access to farmlands due to discrimination. We're going to be talking about this new act. It hasn't come out yet, but it's in the process, which is the Justice for Black Farmers Act. This will reform the U.S. Department of Agriculture and create a land grant program to encourage a new generation of Black farmers. So we're going to be kind of just diving in. I sent you everyone a link. So we're just kind of going to start diving into that and kind of bouncing off of what T.I. was talking about. Black people. So my title is Head Out the Gutter, really Black folks, and head in the land. So that's kind of wrapping around. It's time to own land now. It's time to own land now. Get our head out the gutter. Get our head out. Like we got to go buy expensive gym shoes. We got to stand in the line to buy shoes, PlayStations, just everything. It's time to put that to the side going into this new year and moving forward.
That's right. So, now so can we call her Lady T or Mrs. T?
Who you talking about? Lovely T?
No, Miss T.
We have T.
Okay, so I want to call her Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T. Boss T. Let's call her Boss T.
We got a whole bunch of T's on this panel.
Yeah, a lot of T's on here today.
Tepfirah, Tepfirah.
But Boss T, I want to ask you a question, and this is for both of the and Miss. What's that? Miss Piper. Miss Piper and Miss T. Okay, so I'm asking both of you guys. Okay, so what is the reason? Why should we, as African Americans, why should we even look in this area of buying? Is it farmland or just land in general? So can you make that clear for us? Is it about buying farmland or owning farmland, or is it about just land in general? It's for any one of you guys.
Sure. I mean, for me, the bill is obviously talking about farmland, but in general, I think owning land for Black folks is revolutionary. It is. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I come from like a super kind of revolutionary past where I was like in a theoretical Black thought of like how do we get liberated, right? And over the course of studying different religions, studying different things, it came back to the land for me. It came back to having a proper relationship with the land and having proper relationships with each other. And that is the pathway to liberation for me.
Wow. All right. But what about you, Miss Piper? What is on that same line? What was the reason for you in terms of like why should we buy either farmland or just own the land in general? And what sparked you to even look down this road?
Actually, the land is actually ours, and it was stolen from us. And so we're actually just reclaiming what's already owed to us. We've already been given the land. It was already after Reconstruction, that was our land. But that land was either taken from us through terrorism or other means of basically stealing our property. And so technically we shouldn't even be buying the land. We're owed reparations. So but in the current system that we're in, we're using money to buy land because that's how we're going to acquire the land. So I just wanted to name that. But outside of that, for me, I was born into what some would call a Black revolutionary family. I come from a long legacy of people like, who helped create things like the Republic of New Africa and the League of Revolutionary Black Workers and all this kind of legacy. And so I always have been taught that, owning land is wealth. The way you have a say in anything is through being an owner. I think over the years, as we have been victimized by all forms of oppression, we have unlearned things that that we already know, which is that the Creator gave us this land. It shouldn't even be sold. Honestly, it's a travesty that money has to be put on something that our Creator gave to us. But we're in this capitalist system, and so this is what we're working with. Mostly all my family has always owned property, and that's all the way from the South. I come from a long legacy of what people would call freedmen or free people. That's both my native side and my Black side have always owned land. The white folks down South paid my family for goods and services. And so I just have a long legacy of that. I would also say that in more recent history, I had owned property. It's probably a different story for a different podcast, but I was violently gentrified out of my land and my property here in Detroit, in Corktown, through violent acts of racism, through illegal maneuvers that were done through Corktown Business Association, paying for a private police task force to harass me at gunpoint multiple times. And I had a community center that was serving Black youth and families and creating entrepreneurial endeavors. And fast forward up until now, have the opportunity to be a recipient of this wonderful grant opportunity. And so I started a block club where I live. And now my consciousness is to organize hyper local and help rebuild up my neighborhood where all of the resources had been taken from us through the emergency management system that was enforced upon Detroit through the fake bankruptcy. So I'll just put a period there.
Yeah, well, because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. So, but even getting more into this, like, okay, so there's a lot of African Americans, just all over, who don't really understand about owning land. They don't really have a connection to owning land. A lot of them just have a hard time renting. Trying to learn how to, or trying to survive in dealing with the money that they have, whoever their landlord is. So what is why are we so closed-minded? More so too, and I don't know if I'm using the right word, closed-minded, but don't have a full understanding. Full understanding, uneducated in owning land. I'm gonna leave that to you, Miss T. What do you think about that? Have you ran across, even though you're owning, do you owning land, or you're in the process of owning land?
I own land in Detroit. And my family owns land in Arkansas.
Okay. So now do you find people, or do you find that a lot of African Americans are just, they don't even, that's not even on their mind about owning land, especially farmland. You know what I mean? I think I seen an article where, I don't know if it was a guy in Detroit where he owned land. Who was that we showed the picture of? And the lady, was that Mrs. T? It was standing in front of the I seen this young man. He was doing the same. He was in the city, and he had a garden in the back of his, in his backyard, and he was, he was doing his thing. And he was saying that he was a farmer. He didn't have like the big, out in what is some areas?
South Lyon,
where there's a lot of land you could purchase. Like, how do we educate these people in this area? Because a lot of people just don't know. They don't even have an understanding. And like Miss Piper said, the land is ours. Like, how do we understand that? And I'm leaving that to you.
Let me jump in real quick. Ms. Piper.
I just want her to answer that question real quick. Just answer that. So, what do you think about that? Like, how do they get into the mindset of even knowing that they own land, or land is theirs? You know what I mean? And just talk about that. What can we do, or what should we do, or how do we get educated in this area?
I've been urban farming for about 10 years now. And I know a lot of urban farmers, and I always encourage Detroiters to purchase the land that they're growing on. I tell people for the price of a pair of Jordans in Detroit, you can probably buy a lot, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's really important, like, for Detroiters to own this land, because what people may or may not know is that a lot of companies are coming in and purchasing land in the city, and we're only going to see more and more development. And I want Detroiters and Black Detroiters to profit from that in the long run, and to have their stake here. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Now, how do we educate them though? Like, what should we do so that we can get the word out, Miss Piper? How do we educate them so it just won't be a podcast that we have, but there's a way that, do you guys have forums or Zoom meetings or anything such as that nature that can get people started or just even thinking about it?
Yeah, you want to answer that, Tepfirah?
Yeah, I mean, so the nonprofit that I work for, Keep Growing Detroit, we offer all kind of classes. We're online all the time. You can check out our website. In addition to that, and I'm not sure if Lady B, if you knew this when you reached out, but both Piper and I are a part of a Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund. So we established a fund. It was Keep Growing Detroit. A few other nonprofits came together in the city. Oakland Ave Urban Farm, Detroit Black Community Food Security Network came together on Juneteenth to launch a fund to have Black people who are wanting to farm or wanting to own land be able to receive capital investment in their land. So far, we've awarded 30 folks with their lands, and Piper is one of the awardees. So I'm not sure if you knew that, Lady B. So in addition to this legislation is a part of a national movement that's happening both here on the ground and in other cities across the nation, is this return to the land, this investment in Black folks and land. It's that time. It's that time to get real about reparations.
Wow.
Yeah, I think with Piper, she said something that, like Tone mentioned about being educated. And I think the emphasis on, I don't think we can gloss over, we're not glossing over it, but the point about Reconstruction and how we had the land, and then Andrew Johnson came in and legislation in the South and took it and took the land back that we had. So I like the point about, so now we're purchasing or spending money on something that's rightfully something that we own, and I struggle, with that concept. Of course, in the South they had that legislative process where they said, okay, go back to the original owner. They did the black code, and all those things, some sharecropping and creating these ridiculous laws where basically we went back to slavery legally. But the fact is, we had the land and it was taken from us. And how do we, get more aggressive with educating the populace in a movement on, no, we need to get our land back and we shouldn't have to keep paying for it, or we shouldn't have to get these 15-year loans with all the interest on land that we actually own that was taken from us. So,
that's a
great point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I guess what I want to know is, okay, so like, is there a difference between, like, when you mean we own the land, like what does that mean? We own the land in terms of, is that okay? So we're here in Michigan. Obviously, there's a lot of people buying land. Like the ones who bought that, was it 90-something acres in Georgia? They bought all that land down there. They bought, using the word bought. But my thing is, here in Michigan, in terms of Detroit, Michigan, we have people that's here. And what does that mean to me about we own land? And does that mean property? I mean, what if there's a house? I mean, how do we get land? Like, where is the land at? You get what I mean? So to own it, maybe we can understand Miss Piper's situation. Obviously, she went through you guys are nonprofit. Like, how does that work for someone in a city environment?
So you have different types of titles. So you might have, I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible because it is actually a bit more complex. But the simplicity of it is you have zoning. And so different parcels are zoned for specific uses. And the reason is supposed to be because they want to have, only this type of usage in this area and only this type of usage in that area. I'm speaking generally and in the ideal, because in Detroit, Michigan, we have many violations against humanity, I'm going to say, environmental issues, as to where places that are zoned for toxic waste, for instance, are in residential neighborhoods like Dexter Davison, for instance. But in general, what's supposed to happen is, commercial properties, let's say like warehouses, factories, this kind of thing. There's supposed to be a specific zoning for that. And within that, they're supposed to be responsible for their waste and this kind of thing. There's a different designation for if you want to build homes, right? And what size homes. There's a different category if you want to have a certain kind of shopping. There's a different category if you want to have.
I think she went out.
Piper?
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. In general, what's supposed to happen, and I'm speaking of an urban environment because the question is Detroit specific, but it can get a bit more nuanced depending on the types of areas. But in general, because those zoning categories have also stipulations with them, like I said, things like waste management, etc. There are parcels that are in certain areas, and then according to how it's zoned, that's according to the price, that it'll cost. And so, I mean, and I am speaking, like I said, again, more generally, because this has gotten way out of control in a city like Detroit, where corporations have been allowed to come into our city, purchase land for dirt cheap, sit on it for decades, allow it to become dilapidated or become environmental hazards, and nothing has happened to those people. We've also had people who so-called own their homes, and because their taxes never got reassessed, lost their homes that they were currently living in. and that got snatched from them. So at this point in time, you have a lot of empty lots. Those are, at various prices, and some of them may be next to homes. Some of them may be on what you would consider like a boulevard type of strip. Over the past maybe 15 years, speculators have come into Detroit, and with the level of aggressive gentrification that's happened, they've really, really, really ruined the housing market. That what I'm speaking of, the business of real estate in Detroit. And Detroit, on a real estate level, has some of the best housing stock in the country, right?
Yes.
But the land itself, there's lots of empty parcels, but because they have allowed a lot of these parcels to become dilapidated, in terms of value, many of them are within areas that are, I'm going to say, on a market level, undesirable for folks to move into. Yet and still, because of many of the efforts that people have been doing to repurpose the land, we have an opportunity to re-envision and reimagine and recreate our neighborhoods the way we wish them to be. So we have an opportunity to reinvest into those empty parcels, i.e. that lot next to your grandmother's house that you think is just a dirty little empty lot, like to purchase that for $100. Or,
Right.
And there's lots of parcels all over the city. And some of them are owned by the Detroit Land Bank, which is a whole another thing I'm gonna just keep my mouth shut about, possibly. But in general, the city has an opportunity for people to purchase those parcels for what's supposed to be an affordable price. But we still have to contend with a lot of these corporations who are currently sitting on vacant properties that they have no intentions of building up, that they still, where the prices are still out the roof. So
I'm glad you brought that up. That's what I want to turn to in that area, because you have companies who have brought property, and they've been like, you have all these abandoned buildings. I think if you travel down Woodward, and I think it's like, I don't want to say, I think that's Highland Park, where you have those big old manufacturing, those old buildings just been sitting there for just years and years and years. And this goes over to Miss T. Now let me ask you this. Okay, so if I want to, do you guys help me purchase the land? You give me the money to get the land? In terms of, what if there's a building such as like those old buildings, does that money help us to tear the building or the home down so that we can remove the rubbish, whatever, and then be able to do something with the land? Does your nonprofit help with that?
I support people with go walk through the land purchasing process, which over the years has been nebulous in Detroit. Even though we have so much property, it's been hard to understand the process of purchasing it. Not only the capital investment needed to acquire the property, but also just navigating the system of what to do. So I'm happy to walk people through that. As Piper mentioned, a lot of the vacant land in Detroit is owned by the Detroit Land Bank. They own over 90,000 parcels in the city.
Wow.
And so that's just been recently, over the last 5 years. They have a lot of power. We need to understand this entity. This is a quasi-city entity that has a lot of land and a lot of power in their vestiges. And so they are looking to get it off of their coffers. Obviously, they want to get tax revenue from that. So they have a number of programs that support people to purchase land in the city. Now we need to focus on getting folks in a position, either financially or in a business ready position to want to take on some of this property. Because the thing is, I'm going to tell you, I see white farmers, I see white businessmen owning this property at a disproportionate rate. And so my interest is in getting Black folks to the table to do this. And there are a number of Black folks doing it, but the more the better, right? Because we're an 85% Black city. So what the heck?
If I could jump in, I know like coming up in my era, and I love the millennials. I don't know what y'all ages are. I'm gonna just guess and say y'all millennials, but I love it. No? Okay, well,
we right here.
I love the movement.
Gen X.
Gen X, that's right.
Gen X? Okay, wonderful. Then you have my generation. I love it though. I love the time because we're seeing, social justice movements on a global level. And so this, I did a lot of work. I did a lot of anti-oppression work with the Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence. And even Tone, even on our podcast, we talk a lot about food deserts and how that impacts social determinants of health. Mm-hmm. So all of that is great. So my question is, because I had questions and comments, one of my questions is, with the big boom in marijuana, do you feel like they may hijack or compete or grow at a faster pace? Because both, I'm assuming the agriculture you're talking about is like for food. So do you feel at some point, since we're kind of seeing like this legislation that you guys talked about is supposed to go into effect tomorrow? Piper, you have the grant. So again, do you see those two colliding, especially in an urban area like Detroit? So that's one of my questions.
Vegetable production and marijuana production colliding? No, they're very complementary. The only issue anywhere, but in particular, inside of a city is security for marijuana production. But I know a lot of marijuana growers, and I think it's a great industry for Black folks to be on the ground with.
Yeah, I guess I just, and again, everybody has their thoughts about marijuana. I work in mental health. So I know that, while marijuana does have a lot of healing properties, for some people, it's not the best method of treatment, I'll say. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I just think about in my own mind, like I see how you saying it could complement each other, but I guess in my own mind, like, when you talk about the lot next to grandma's house, do I want, one of my, neighbors, maybe, I'm not even gonna put an age on it, but has a stronger interest in marijuana to, come in the middle of my carrots and my cabbage and try and, grow marijuana. Like it's more profitable, right? I mean, it's more profitable at this point. So I don't know. I guess I just don't want to see that overshadow what has a greater long-term benefit, in my opinion, which is not only like you guys were saying, like we have to get reintroduced to the land. Like when I was growing up, we had the 4-H programs. We don't see a lot of programs like that. Like where the schools were pushing agriculture and the social constructs actually push for, agricultural interest. It's not there. So I'm gonna tell you.
Actually, the bill is calling for a conservation corps, and I want to just be mindful because you mentioned that it was going to go into effect, but we still have a long way to get this bill passed. So I just wanted to make sure that we know that. But yeah, there's a conservation corps for youth that is in that bill. And I know a lot of farmers who are, actively getting youth to their farms. We have an urban youth apprenticeship at our farm. So I'm happy to share that information here or afterwards.
And we definitely want you to do that. And let me ask a question. So now I have a cousin, and I won't put his name out there, but he purchased his house and he fixed the home up, and next to it is just he got this big old lot. He got the lot for like $100. So like next to him, a big old lot, and now he just have different events on there, bonfires and different things on the lot. So now, is that what we're talking about in terms of owning the land? Is that like something that what you guys do? You just help them because you can, like I said, I think he got the land for $100. You know what I mean? I believe that I own.
So
I think that's
rural.
what
That's rural.
Okay, that's rural. Okay,
and you guys deal with more of the city, right?
Well, he is city.
Rural. Okay, I know. I'm saying for
the land bank has a program called the side lot program that I think Piper mentioned it as well. If you are adjacent to the land on either side behind you or on the sides of you, if your property line touches the other property line, you can get that for $100 if it's up for sale.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so now, are you guys familiar? Now, what is that you guys were doing, you and Lexiana, in terms of
the USDA?
Now, they deal with the USDA.
So, do you guys? Well, the USDA is more rural. I don't know if you guys deal with them for city, because I know that they have programs. Do you guys work with them for city, or I know there's more for rural areas?
She said they do.
Oh, okay.
You guys do work with that. Okay, so now, are you familiar with how it works with the land that's outside of the Detroit area? Meaning you can purchase that land. How does that work? Tell them, as if they're familiar with it, how you don't have to put a down payment down.
Yeah, that's the USDA, where basically you don't have to put a down payment. I believe the interest rates are like pretty low, but you do have to get a loan. So from the way it's different ways that you can purchase land. You can get, like you said, you guys help with grant, and then they have where you can get it with loans. So some people might decide, well, I just want to get a loan, or I want to go the grant way. So it's different ways in acquiring the land.
So I guess I was ask you guys, both of you, Miss Piper and Miss T, do you think it's wise for people to finance land? You know, say like you go out into
No.
Okay, you don't think that you
land.
should?
No, don't that's part of our let me not be judgmental, but that's part of our problem as Black people is our self-determination. We can't have self-determination begging the oppressor to unoppress us. We can't, we've been, and this is not like a shame thing. It's just in 2020 post, or looking at quarantine and COVID, if we didn't learn anything else, we've got to be self-determined, because we have many years, many decades, hundreds of years of examples of how we've been failed by the system. And so if we're looking to continue to do the same thing and get a different result, we're going to continue to lose. And if in Detroit specifically, we're ground zero for everything that happens in the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And what we should learn from this bankruptcy, when those big three stole people's pensions, and that mortgage company that y'all know about that's downtown, that owns 600 million square feet of downtown, stole people's homes and put those fake loans and those fake mortgages, and people who worked their whole lives and lost everything. We've got to stop with the loans. We got to stop with credit. Like, we've got to stop that. That is killing people. That's causing people to lose everything that they have. There is no such thing as getting something for nothing. What we have to learn from our ancestors and from our grandparents is ownership and hard work. And that's what it took. And that might mean a little bit of sacrifice. Like, we might not be able to be flossy and cute because, we might have to, wear, sew our clothes. We might have to make some sacrifices so that we can actually build power, because looking cute, that doesn't build power. Being able to shop and buy nice clothes and fancy stuff and cars and stuff, that's not wealth. All that stuff depreciates. And so we've got to learn how, if we can't afford it right now, then we don't need it right now. And we've got to learn how to buckle down and focus on what's important. And what's most important, like Tepfirah said, we've got to own some land. Because in this country, if you do not own land, you're not taken seriously. And that's a straight up fact. I work with a lot of different people. Renters are fighting for their rights right now. I mean, it's really shameful how poor people are treated in this country. It's shameful. Yet and still, with that, we've got to find a new way to do things. So we've got to have home. Detroit had the highest number of home owners before the mortgage scandal. And they used the mortgage scandal to continue to teach people that they should be renting. So you have people in Detroit who make a decent living, who decide that they want to rent property because they want to look cute. And it's, I don't mean to be shameful, but I'm just saying, if we, like, COVID should have taught all of us that it's time to really get serious about building power right now. And one of the most powerful things you could do is own land. It gives you power to make a lot of decisions. When I step into a room, no matter what room it is, like in any of these community meetings, they give me respect. And it's terrible because renters should get respect. Homeless people should get respect. But I get respect because I own my home and I have a block club. And that weighs something when you go and you're, petitioning for your neighborhood, you're lobbying for better legislation for your community, when you're pushing for things to happen, things to get fixed, things to get done, you get listened to. And as terrible as all that is just a fact of the system that we're in. So anyway, I would just, that's what I would say.
Good. That's good. That's good information. So are we saying?
Piper, go ahead. I just want to real quick. Piper sounds like Audre Lorde a little bit with the whole notion of you can't use the tools out of the master's house in order to build or fix your own problem. Like, you can't go to the master and expect to find the answer.
That's what I'm going at. I guess what I'm trying to get at, because it's so rich in the way to go is financing. That's the popular word. And because people can't see clear down that road of, I can't afford $100,000 or $250,000. I don't have $250,000 to go out to Ann Arbor or whatever, or Superior Township where they selling 20 acres. I guess we ran across some acres. See, so here's my thing. I guess what I'm saying now, because, so my mindset is this, right? Business, in a business sense, that if you can find that land, and I know you obviously gonna speak against this, but if you see that land, that 20 acres of land, and it's going for, the guy selling it for $160,000, you don't have that money, but he has something on the land that you can build wealth off of in terms of financial gain, where you could turn around and turn that into a business, take that money and pay for that land straight out. I'm saying that there should be different ways that, like for instance, we've seen some land, and I'm speaking actually of the land that we thinking about buying. It's got I think 200 Christmas trees.
You got maple, 200 maple trees. It has a pond. It has a stream and a pond with trout already in it. It has berries. Just different things like that.
But it's a lot. The guy who owned the land, he used the land. He used to sell Christmas trees. That's what he used the land for. He have two of them, and we were thinking about financing one of those, so that we can turn that and turn a profit and then pay the land off. I mean, I'm saying that what if you have a lot of people out there who don't have the money? And I understand you say, $250,000 or $163,000, that's a lot of money to be trying to wait on, unless you just really hit a lick, sort of. So like they say, I hit a lick and I got this money and now I can do it. But is there creative ways?
You finance off your business. If you don't have a business entity, you should not be getting loans and you should not be financing nothing. If you are dealing with yourself personally, then you don't need to be buying $150,000 nothing, because what if you get a heart attack? What if you get hit by a car? What if? We have to look at life in its entirety. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. We have to look at, having something that in a savings and having something to share when we leave here, and not just having something just for the future. We have to look 7 generations into the future, but we also have to look at, our next generation, right? And so, yeah, it's smart to invest in a business, but if we don't have a business entity, then that is not a good decision. If you own a business entity, then what makes sense is to build up your business entity to be able to take on that kind of a burden, of a financial burden. But if you're not able in any circumstance to handle a business emergency or a personal emergency, that is not a smart business decision, and it's self-sabotage. That's just my personal,
So are you saying that, and I guess what I'm saying is, because there's thinkers out there, there's someone thinking like that, they're saying that, well, that closes the door to me because the land that I want to own, I can't afford. And there's a ton of people who would think that way. I can't afford it. And unless there is a grant that's just like how they did the Indians, where just because of you're Indian, you get so many tax write-offs, so many benefits, you can go to school for free. Well, they haven't made that available for African Americans thus far that I'm aware of, that because you're an African American, you can get a grant to purchase this land. Right now, everything is up for sale. And if it's into the things that you want to use the land for, I'm not saying 2 acres, not even an acre of land. This house on this property, you can buy for $99, tear it down. But what in terms of doing something with it to actually make income, well, right now, if you have a certain amount of land, you can get business. Well, before the COVID, I don't know what happened now. You can actually acquire business in different countries and do that farmland and have it sent over to make money. There's a lot of white people that are doing that. They're taking and making money with the land, and they might finance it. They might finance it, but they're turning a profit. I guess me being a business owner is that I guess I'm looking at it in all creative ways. I understand, but to say that, I guess my disagreement is, I don't think that we should allow, because I don't have the money, I got to work 20 years to get $100,000. When if I have a good credit score, I can make that work for me and turn a profit from a perspective of business. You know what I mean? I guess that's my mindset, because I'm trying to see down that road to see what is the other option that they have if I don't have that kind of money, or I don't have that credit line.
Well, what about the concept of Ujima or Ujama, where we talk about collective work, collective economics? Now I got burned, I ain't gonna lie. But the concept I fell in love with, which was a type of co-op. And the point was that we all pitched in, and the collective entity became 50% owner of a neighborhood party store. And it was like, great, perfect opportunity to reclaim, business in the neighborhood. We can have, like, if you put in at a certain level, then you had more voice on the board and voting on different matters, whatnot. Now, I'm a skeptic, so I didn't put a whole bunch, and find out the person that was in charge, left the city with folks' money. But given that concept, I didn't lose a lot. You know what I'm saying? I don't give unless I know I can afford to be without it. I've learned that lesson many, many times over again.
Yeah.
So whatever, you know what I mean? I believed in the concept, though. So what do you think about, like I was saying?
cooperatives have been a way that Black people have been able to pull their money over the centuries for, you know, a long time. So I'm sorry that you had this situation happen to you. And definitely before you go into that, of course, you know, do your homework. Like Leslie T said, don't invest more than you can. In an ideal situation, that's where we would be headed. An ideal situation, but that would involve a certain level of healing of our internalized oppression that makes it to where we can't do business with each other, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's something that has come before that, that to me, for me, that needs to be built around real community, real relationships with people. So let's unpack this a little bit. I think that when we go far enough back, the idea and concept of land ownership, individual land ownership, is a European concept. It came with the Enclosure Act in Europe, right? And so this is not a concept that is communal at all. Black and Indigenous folks are communal minded, right? We own property together. We own property as a unit. It wasn't about fencing off a piece of land and this is my land. That's what it's never about, right? But we're not in that. We are in the game. We are fully in the game. You know? And so how do you take this communal mind and navigate the game with it? And that's what you're asking, Tony. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with Piper. If you have a business entity, and that's what she said, if you have a business entity, this is what they do. You know, the liability falls on the business, not on the individual, right? That's part of the game. You know what I mean? So you got to know their system. You got to have lawyers in place. You got to understand, because I've been doing a lot of talking, and another thing that this bill addresses is the heirs property in down south. Are you guys familiar with some of the issues around that?
No, I'm not familiar.
No.
So what happens in a lot of large families, and you may know about this in your own family, your family may own property, and then the owners back in the day may have got it straight off after the Civil War. The owners never had a will. And so when they pass, the property goes to 13, 14 different people, right, in the family. So you might have a piece of it, your brother might have a piece of it, your cousin might have a piece of it. And then you got an investor, and they come with their financing, Tony, with the game. They come and they buy out your brother, and then they buy out your cousin. And then next thing you know, they own 40%, 30% of the property that was originally yours, 400 acres. Now they own 30%. Now they can force you to sell.
Wow.
So this is land loss.
Wow.
This is land loss. When you look at our history, what you guys, I like what you guys flashed up there about the 40 acres and a mule. A lot of people don't know that history of how that was an actual field order from a general that happened right down there in Savannah, Georgia, right? They got up in the church and they said, you know, what do y'all want? What do y'all Black folks want? They was like, we want land. And they drafted the 40 acres and a mule. And like the brother RW said here, Johnson reversed that after Lincoln was assassinated, right? They also had an effort right after the Civil War called the Southern Homestead Act, right? And that was particularly for Black people to take advantage of. However, it ended up being co-opted by white folks. So 3 million acres went to white folks in that bill that was intended for Black people. Because Black people couldn't take advantage of it because a lot of times their paperwork wasn't together after the Civil War. Their capital wasn't together right after coming off of enslavement, right? So there have been this history of the American government providing land to people. We know the Homestead Act that aided in Western expansion. We know that history, where the government gave land grants to thousands of people. The GI Bill, the government gave mortgages to thousands of white folks, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think this is what we're coming to. Some of the options, coming back to your point, Tony, some of the options are that cooperative purchasing, like Lovely T said. Some of the options are these land grants that hopefully, if this bill goes through, we'll be able to get property in these land grants. Now, if you have a business and you know what you're doing, mm-hmm. I'm gonna say a little bit against what Piper was saying, in that go play the game and get this land. Because it's time. We can't.
That's one of the things that I wanted to address, because see, I understand. See, the other hand to that, and I get what she's. No, I understand what she said. I understand. I remember going to a conference. It was years ago in Novi, and the guy at the time, we owned some property. You know, I was confident and cocky. I said, "Yeah, we own some property." So, what you talking about? He said, "Is it in your business name?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, whatever." You know what I mean? But my thing is, and that's how we learn, and we understand about what most people don't get with a FICO score. A FICO score is understanding, and a paydex score. Actually, a paydex score, so that it can be the credit under that business name, so that business can get credit. And we get all that, and we own nonprofits. You know what I mean? Where you could put things in. We get how that works. I guess my thing was I guess it was misinterpreted. I'm not saying in terms of under personal credit. However you do it, but I was just talking in general, in terms of the financing perspective, not as in if you're doing it under your FICO or under your paydex score. I'm talking in general, that to some people, and I'm trying to think in terms of the average people that are out here in the Black community, they don't have $250,000. I guess that's what I'm trying to draw the line at.
Would be nice, Tony. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm putting on the table. You got churches that's making $1 million a week damn near. You know what I'm saying? Okay, put it together. Y'all are already a community. Go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this: can you do this even? But let me turn another way around. Let me turn another way around that. See, that's not a reality in terms of them. They do it, and I know churches who've took their money and they actually went and bought homes for people to live in, and they actually used my dollars went towards that, where it went to actually put the property together and the people. I get that, and I agree with that. That's a good idea. But see, here's another one. Income tax time come around. We take our money, we buy clothes, we buy everything else, but we won't work as a team to say, hey, listen.
Why? Because we don't trust each other.
Exactly. Well, it's got to come apart. It's got to come a time where here's the thing. Now let's get this. What if we had a forum? Because I'm about solution. You know, what if we had a forum that would come on, and these people that's on this forum would say, listen, the only people who can come on this forum, if you have to be serious, at least for 1 year, that we talk about what we're going to do and get to know one another. But come income tax time, those people who do get that $5,000, that $10,000 check, that we already understand what it is that we want to do with this money, and that's buying land together. I'm saying those are proactive ways of actually stepping out, and I'm getting to learn you within that year. We right now, obviously, we COVID, but we can do Zoom. I'm saying, what are some solutions? Because I'm gonna be honest, most business people, you have a lot of, and this is a bad habit to have. You have a lot of impatient people where they want to move. They want to move right now. They don't want to wait 20 years to get $100,000. They don't want to wait these many years. They want to move and impact their community ASAP. So I guess what I'm saying is is that an idea? A forum, we get to know each other instead of depending on the church, because that just might not happen. But if I get some people that's in my square that are willing to say, listen, I'm willing to give up my check if it's right. I'm willing to give up my check if it's right. Or my percentage. Listen, even now, you know why T.I. made that statement? Because there was a lot of people who were getting a gross amount of money within their unemployment. I'm talking about like $17,000. Listen, let me, I'm gonna put my business out there. Somebody tried to fraud me. Listen, look what happened. Because I have a connection with a bank, I can't put my business out there, that I was notified that somebody was, this was recently happening to me, was scamming my name. And guess what? The reason why they got caught is because the first time they tried to do it, they didn't get the card. They put it all in my name. I had no idea about this. And then they issued out another card to them. It started in California and then it ended over here in Detroit, where this person had $17,000, tried to get $17,000, and it was all in my name. Had my social security, had my birth certificate. I don't know how they got this information, but guess what? The person, I didn't do nothing. The person sent me the address of where this person lived. I got in my car. I drove over there to their house. You know, I asked some questions. They wasn't there. The Holy Spirit had to guide me because I don't want to be a fool, do something. I don't know what these people packing, but you know what I mean? But I pulled up and I asked the next door neighbor, and then I put in the police report, you know what I mean? Instead, I got out the car to go knock on the door, and I had to reroute myself. The Ruach Hakodesh told me to turn around and get back in the car. Don't go knocking on nobody's door because you ain't, you don't know what people saying. So I just played it, but my mind wanted to, whatever, you know what I mean? That was in my mind at the time. So, I reported them.
So it's money.
But I said that to say it's plenty of money out here.
That's in the hands of black people.
That's in the hands of black people right now. And they're not used. I don't know everybody, but there's a lot of people who I can call right now, somebody who can tell me what these people are using their cards for, because they have the power to cut their cards when they want to. But the phone calls that they get back, they in stores buying Louis Vuitton, they buying everything else, but they're not using, and that's their business. I get it. But I'm saying here's an opportunity right now for some of these people with the money that they're getting, that they can go buy land if they really wanted to. All I'm saying is, what is a solution? What is a proactive solution that they can do now? And I guess I'm talking to the people that's probably listening to the podcast, that this will repost. We normally get a little bit over 300 hits once it reposts and go back out. And I guess I'm saying this to those people out there: if you have that type of money, and people that's like-minded, just like you, and they can put their dollars with your dollars. You have income tax checks that's coming through. And I'm not saying that it's an option. There is an option that you can use that can at least start the track, buy some land. That's what these Arabics do when they buy in these corner stores, these liquor stores, and they accumulate the money. Then they buy their friend or their relatives. Listen, I can't say, I know, I'm just saying this for the support. I know a pharmacy, a owner of a pharmacy, who when his next door neighbor around the corner, who's Arabic, when she ran out, and I can't say these people names or they'd be shut down, but anyway, when they would run out of pharmaceutical supplies, they would borrow from the other person off their credit line. You get what I mean? And then they will work with each other like this. And when that person credit line is built back up, they'll give it back to the other people. They work together. They support one another.
So why black people
we don't do that?
Not trust one another. We just further going down and down and down.
Like Miss Piper said, she felt like a celebrity. She shouldn't have to feel like a celebrity. I guarantee you that there's people that's in that community who have, listen, just because You know, they just say, I just look this way. Detroit people, some people just look that way. Some of them have a pocket full of money.
And their credit scores
scores is banging.
Good,
they just look like that. I mean, you know what I mean? They can make it happen if they really, really, really wanted to, if they had someone to educate them like you guys are doing now. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I'm just hoping that they will be able, somebody would be able to understand. Now, what I want to do is I want us to give, or do we have any clear solutions? Clear solutions, because again, there's somebody sitting back and say, well, I don't have that kind of time to sit here and scrape up pennies and don't get my hair done and stop going to the movies. And, you know, I don't, in fact, even if I do that, I don't know if that's going to bring $100,000 my way. You know what I mean? So what can they do to, I get it, start the process by saving money. I get that. You know, save $100 a week, $200 a week until something come about. But on a larger scale, is there something that someone could do? Like I threw this out there now, you know, start a forum, start talking on the forum, get to know one another. And I know it's a hard pull when you say depend on the income tax check. I get that, because it might come, it might not come. We understand that. But just to have that understanding to say that we think alike. You know what I mean? We think alike, so we can do when money come available, just like the stimulus check that just came. Everybody got that little, those who qualify got that little $1,200 check. Well, there was people out of Walmart running out. And listen, I'm not hating on people, but there's people running out of Walmart with color TVs. You know what I mean? I mean, to each his own. I mean, you know, I probably would have bought one too. You know what I mean? But I'm saying that it has been access to money.
So when I had the title, head out the gutter, head in the land. So that's what that's what my whole thought was. Black folks got to get, most of them got to get their head out the gutter. You know, we got to get it somewhere else. Like we've been talking on this panel about building wealth in this generation. It's time to build wealth. We can't be building, like I'm teaching we teaching our son how to buy stock. So he got like a couple stocks that he's buying. He's been all into it, you know. He's been selling some and then getting some more because he think this one is growing better. And so that's good. We got to start like educating this generation with lands, whatever it is.
And push out, by the way, so we talking, you guys can add in Moderna, guys.
Oh,
you better get in Moderna stuff. I know it is vaccinations, but listen, Black folks, you better start buying some. Listen, that's the hottest thing out. We're giving you a tip on stock now. That's the hottest thing going out right now. And if you invest a couple of dollars, you're gonna make some. Our stock is growing. When we got into Moderna, when it was early, when the stock's like
Moderna, it was like $70 per share.
Now it's up to what?
Like 100 something now.
Like 100 something. I mean, guess what?
Growing.
And it's growing. So I'm telling you guys, listen, get into that. If you can afford it at this rate, buy stock. I'm talking to Black people. If you want to talk about buying land, that could be a way. Moderna might blow up. Fires on the bike might blow up, and now you have some money that you can draw out and put it into buying some land. I'm just saying. So now I want you guys to let us know what are some solutions that these people that are sitting out here, who are sitting at the tip of their seat, anxious, like, oh my God, I love this idea, but what can I do? What can they do now that can make a difference?
Wait, I'm gonna say one thing, and then I'm gonna let Tepfirah share like the multitude of solutions that she has. But I would just say that one thing is the ideology must shift. We have to support one another in shifting our ideology. There is no way to grow food without patience. There is you can go to the grocery store and get you some string beans, but you cannot grow a string bean from a seed all the way to a bean you can eat in 3 minutes. That will not happen. Not, I mean, maybe a GMO or some, strange thing they have. So the ideology must shift. All our culture, meaning American culture, Western culture, has taught people that I want whatever I want right now. And the example about not being able to afford $150,000, but I want it, you can't afford it. I know you want it, but you can't afford it. What is wrong? I run in different circles. I was with a woman that's in charge of a lot of important stuff here in Detroit. And I went on a funding retreat with her and some other folks, and we were having conversation about two Detroits. And she's a Black woman, and she lives in, like, I don't know, West Bloomfield or something. And I live deep in the hood. And when we were talking about the two Detroits, you know, she wanted to present us as unified. And I was trying to explain to her, Detroit's not unified. Right? We are not. There's downtown and all the gentrification that's happening and all of those tax cuts, and that's not happening for the citizens. So I represent the citizenry. And so within that conversation, a couple of days passed by, and she pulled me to the side, you know, because we were around a lot of white folks, and she was like, I'm just trying to understand you. You're so intelligent and articulate, and why would you live in a neighborhood like that? And I told her, I live in Detroit, one of the major cities in the United States, the people who put the world on wheels, the home of Motown. I live in the middle of, I'm surrounded by a beautiful culture of Black people. I'm proud of my heritage and where I come from. I own my home. I pay $1,800 a year in taxes. Why, at 48 years old, would I want to incur debt moving into my next 30, 40 years? That makes no sense to me. And that, like, the fact that where I live, that my government has failed my community, I have enough knowledge that now I'm in a position to be able to build around my local government, build up my local community, and build where I live so that I can share what I learned with my neighbors and help my neighbors to empower themselves so that we can build collective power hyper locally. This same woman told me a horrible story about her 16-year-old son who's going to high school out there, West Bloomfield, and the little white girl sent her son a picture of her breasts, and because he didn't report it to the principal, the little girl's father saw it and went to the principal. They accused him of sexual misconduct or something like that. And now this little Black boy who didn't even share the picture, he erased it, now has some type of sexual misconduct thing on his record. And if you know anything about the new system, now, like when we were going to school, if you did something in school, that was your school record. But now, because of the school to prison pipeline, if anything happens in school, that goes on your actual criminal record that they start for you starting in kindergarten. Wow. So now he's a sexual predator because he didn't report it. They said he was complicit. So I said to her, who lives in a more violent neighborhood? If that is the height of violence to me. So I guess what I'm saying is, ideologically, we want everything. We want to have this. We see ourselves as low. We see our neighborhoods as less. When you go and live in white folks' neighborhood, you know what they do? Those community meetings be packed, okay? And they be pressuring, you know, all of their political officials to do what they're supposed to do. When you come to our neighborhoods, the only people at our neighborhood meetings are the couple of block club presidents begging the city to come and do something minimal. And so we've got to shift that paradigm, and we've got to understand that this is our land. This already belongs to us, and we must make demands. We must demand of our elected officials. We must demand of ourselves. We must demand of our communities. Our trust was ruined through the crack era, where those roles flipped and little Raheem became the boss and grandma's afraid of him. And that's been going on now for almost 30 plus years. Yep. And what we must do is build back our families, build back our neighborhoods, build back our relationships. And if I can't afford $150,000 to go buy this laked off property surrounded by white folks who don't want me out there no way, and I got to pass police who's going to stop me and ask me what I'm doing out there twice a week when I go to the grocery store, I'd rather invest that in my own community where I live. I live in a brick house. I live next to Dearborn. I live next to, you know, one of the richest bodies of water in the world, the Detroit River. And so we've got to look at our resources as being the most valuable. We live in the Mecca. Detroit is the Mecca, and it's still majority Black. So to me, that's a much more rich and valuable experience than trying to go out and live in the suburbs and surrounded by, a culture of people who don't even value me or even want me there. So I'm just saying that we can bring value back into our communities, but we have to look at what value really is. And it's a rich experience. It's rich soil. It's rich, having amenities, having things to do culturally in your own neighborhood, having businesses, building up your house, growing your own food, getting to know your neighbors, and having a better quality of life, where we are. So if I didn't know, I'm not about to go spend my money out there. I'm gonna invest my money, right around where I live. So I don't know. That's just my ideology, the way I feel about it.
Well, do anybody has any other solutions in terms of okay, so here, I'm gonna throw this out. Okay, so now, and this is if you guys don't already have it, Miss T and Miss Piper, if you guys don't already have this, we will offer our platform in terms of our platform that we're on now. If you guys ever want to do community meetings online, we'll offer that service for free. We won't charge that at all. If you guys want to use this platform so that you can get people who think like you, and I mean, obviously you guys been doing this for a while. I'm quite sure you probably have a platform, but just for newcomers who don't or who want to be involved and saying that, listen, I love that idea of supporting one another in terms of one day putting my money in with somebody else's money so that we can buy land.
So how did the people do that in Georgia? All the 97 people, was it 97? No, 97 acres. But all those people came together. How did they do that? I'm quite sure.
I have to get some research in to see. But because I want to be able to start a platform that we can make this start happening, at least on our end. I'm quite sure there's people who want to do it. There's people who's probably already started this, but just knowing that we can do it too. I'm offering this platform. So if you guys want to make I want to get some, we have you guys numbers, I think, information. So we can stay in contact with you guys because I want to make something happen. Yeah, at least from this end, if we're talking about not financing, that's what the world knows. This world is about capitalism. This is a capitalist society, at least in this America's, is a capitalist society. And the only way that they draw to that is through financing. I get it. I understand it's detrimental or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, we all know credit is just, I mean, we know it. We all grown here. We know about credit. Well, hopefully it can be a terrible thing. No, but at the same time, I just believe that it can work for you if you allow it to, but you definitely have to be disciplined and have a plan. Have a plan in order for it to work for you. It's too many success stories. I know personal success stories that it does work, and these people don't even need their credit line anymore. So I do know that it does work, but I'm saying if there's other ways, I'm definitely want to allow that thing to happen because there's somebody out there who say, I have the money but I don't have the support. I have the money and I seen it online. I guess the guy said, I know a lot of different things that we could do, but I just don't see my people and the support system. They too busy using it to get high, to drink, to party, and they don't want to do anything else. You get what I mean? So
but what is you guys' idea? Like you said, like bouncing off of that, like the 19 families that came together. I mean, they trusted one another. Look at it. Now they're building a city on the land. So what about, something like that? People don't, what do you guys think about that?
Well, they start a forum. That's what do you guys have something like that anyway? Right at this moment, do you guys have something that people can go to get ready for whatever is coming out? Anything?
Yeah. There's a few, if we want to go ahead and get practical with what people can do is what I'm hearing that you're asking. And I think there's different levels to it, right? So if you have a couple $1,000s extra money, right? I would say go ahead and purchase all the land that you can in your neighborhood. So you can do that in a number of ways. And if you're interested, Tony and Lady B, I'd be happy to jump on here and go through the purchase process with you for folks who may be at that level. If you're at a different level, I would encourage people of color to jump into some type of business, whatever it is, whatever you love, whatever brings you happiness and joy, make a business out of it, and create and begin to create other streams of income that aren't reliant on this system, right? So that is kind of next level. We should be teaching our children about business. We should be teaching our children about trades. These are things that are going to develop. And then buying clubs are great. And I think that they have potential. Cooperatives always have potential. Here again, my issue is when we come down to that trust that we have with each other. And so for me, I would encourage, if you want to go that route, I would encourage developing a community of people who believe what you believe. And I personally operated a nonprofit as well outside of my 9-to-5 urban farming job. I started a group called Black to the Land, me and 9 other people who are looking to invest in property. I would like people to look at Idlewild, Michigan. I would like people to look at these historically Black cities and make sure that we're locking down, that people of color are locking down the ownership in those Black cities. So actually, me and Piper are actually working on a project to try to get some to land right in Idlewild, Michigan. So I mean, but that's because we're developing a trust between each other, and the folks on our board are developing a trust between each other that says that we are abiding by certain principles with each other. And when this land comes through, this is how we're going to operate, like those people in Georgia that you mentioned, right? So the relationship has to come first, and the morality. If you're trying to invest on that level with a group of people, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I have a question for you real quick. What does the you mentioned urban farming? What does the supply chain look like? For example, early today, I went to Kroger, got some carrots. So what does it look like? I would know where, how to purchase, who has it. What does that supply chain look like if I wanted to say, okay, I want to purchase some goods?
That's a great question. And actually, I meant to mention that in my kind of mid-level, between a couple $1,000s and like Tony, he got $150,000. Somebody between us, what you can do is support You can support Black farmers. You can support local producers. And if you even just Google urban farming in Detroit, you will find a number of online stores that are doing curbside pickup. We're a little bit off season right now. For instance, our online store just closed last week. We're at the end of November. Come hit us up in the spring if you want to do that. Support Black farmers are all year round. So knowing who is growing your food, and if you have extra income that you can support a Black farmer, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Looking at, if you have disposable income, make sure that all the stuff you grow, all the stuff you purchasing is from Black businesses. You know what I mean? Like use it in that way, and let's get this thing circulating. You know what I mean? My daughter got $500. She's like, Mama, I'm only spending on Black owned businesses. You know what I mean? She's on that state of mind. You know what I mean? And that's where we all need to be, because it's not necessarily about us as individuals getting things. Sometimes it's about us investing in other people,
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Well, we're putting that out there. Whichever way we could use this platform, we would love to do it. We would definitely love you guys to come back on.
Yes.
And if you coming up, if you have a project that's coming out, if you're trying to, whatever it is, however we can assist you guys in that area, we definitely would love to be a part of that and to just learn more. Yeah. I do know that there is money that's going to be coming down the line, whether it be through stimulus checks or however you want to feel. There's going to be, and I mean, maybe people need to use their money. I don't know. You know, I'm quite sure if they're getting it, they're going to use it. But just there's other resources. You know, but I guess we want to just keep have an ear out for what's going on and opportunity for money, available money. So I don't know, just like the PPP, there's a lot of people who own businesses, and a lot of Black people, they did complain. No, a lot of people, Black people complained about it, but they didn't know how to access it. I mean,
their paperwork wasn't right.
Their paperwork wasn't right, and they didn't get that money. That was a lot of money for those who qualify. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, it's just so many things is out here that we just kind of like
we miss out on,
or we give up on it, or we just think because we don't qualify, we won't. We just automatically we don't qualify. You know, so we just want to keep our ear out. Guys, I commend you what you guys are doing. Kudos to you. And however we can support that by getting you financing. I'm just playing with you. We were doing.
Well, support
Miss Piper gonna cuss me out. I don't want to say that, but
Miss Piper, what you say?
Everyone go to the food co-op, Detroit Food Co-op, and get you a membership right now. It's $250 for a lifetime, and it's being built currently, and it is Black-owned business, but also it supports Black farmers and Black food businesses and entrepreneurs, and it's set to open pretty soon. And so go get you a membership, $250 for a lifetime. You can't beat that. To be a worker owner in a Detroit Food Co-op. And if you're looking for Black food businesses to support, check out the Detroit Food Policy Council. There's so many businesses that they're linked to, and also Detroit Food Lab. I mean, this is just food stuff, but there's so many. Detroit has so many people to keep growing. Detroit Black Community Food Security Network. We have Feed 'em Freedom. We have so many. What else? Nurturing Our Seeds. We have so many farms.
Now, do you have access to these people to get them onto the show?
Of course.
To talk about?
And I do, and Tepfirah knows probably hundreds more than I do.
Yeah, there are 2,000 farms and garden in our program. You know what I mean? So we can get you some food. You know what I mean?
Now, I would love to be able to talk, or them even come on and just say what they do, and we don't even do an interview, and they just say what they do, and then the next person come on, leave their information. If this can be a platform to start whatever, I want to be a part of helping. We worked with last year. Who was the name of that organization?
The Fair Food Network.
You guys ever heard of it? You ever heard of the Fair Food Network? When we work with them, we work with their Black owners where we help them in promoting their businesses. I think it was a couple of 20 of them. I think it was like 20 businesses. I mean, from food to food, work down at the food farmers. We help them develop their business, develop commercials for them. I mean, the whole 9 yards. So we understand that they are out there and they're wanting to do business with their own people. And they also want to be able to get into different stores and different things. And it's, I'm not going to say it's not been easy. You know, it hasn't been easy, but that means that we can support them as well. They can help them bring in those dollars to be able to do bigger things. So, guys, we thank you for coming on the show, guys. We thank you. Go ahead.
When you mentioned about, persons coming on, and I think T mentioned about the relationships and building trust, and having them come on and really begin to distinguish. Because, for example, if in theory, if I go to Kroger, in theory, they're regulated. The food is, they say the food in terms of the freshness and, what are they using to to grow the food, all that information that we're as Black folk, we're just as proficient. So they can come on and say, this is what we do. This is how we cultivate what we're doing. That way, in terms of trust, because they're hearing it directly from us, because we've been so inundated with the system that they can come on and say, you know what, our food is just as fresh. You know, just as healthy.
And healthier, fresher.
Yep.
And I love that. I'd like to come back when we launch the Detroit Black Farmer Fund Year 2, which will be in June. If you can maybe make a note to bring us back, we can launch that for something for people to invest in, and we can bring some farmers on and drop their links to where you can purchase their food. I would like that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's definitely. We definitely got to get some dates together with you guys, and what we'll do is we'll promote the show. So we'll send it out so it can get a whole lot of hits, and so we'll send out that commercial so they'll know to come in and tune in. That will be excellent. That will be a great idea to get this thing on. We just want to add to what you guys are already doing. That's pretty much it. Again, kudos to you guys. We appreciate you guys. We love our Black people. I love my Black people. So you know what I mean. So guys, we want you guys to succeed. And every which way we should. We're supposed to be a family working together and making this thing happen, especially in this owning this land. I remember seeing that one lady who bought, I guess she won $7 million.
Yeah, she it was a one story where I thought we was gonna play that little piece, but
it was so long.
But it was a little piece Jesse found. But yeah, she won $7 million lawsuit through the USDA. I guess her family land was taken from them, and so they finally won and got all that land. She actually took some money, and bought back her land from the people that took it from her family.
Listen, this whole issue with the USDA and this bill that you guys are talking about, this is a practical path to reparations. So let's put all of our attention and love on this. The brother Cory Booker for putting this out there. Just put it in your mind that this is going to go through, because this is going to be major for Black people. This is, I'm trying to tell you, this bill is off the charts.
Wow. Yeah. So hopefully to go through, you know, like you said, we're going to keep it positive and believe that it's going to go through.
Yeah.
And it's going to be able to help change those people's mind. Now, they don't have to be on a sign-up list or anything such as that nature. It's just a bill to pass. And if you know about it, you know about it. Now listen, the United Nations, I think I'm going to send you guys some information. I want you guys to check it out. It's from the United Nations that they have so many things that they want. I don't know how to speak on it. I'm going to just send it to you, and it has to be done by 20. They have 4 more years. And it was something to the degree of if you didn't reach out to them, that America actually don't have to promote it for Black people in terms of it was financial stability. I think it has something to do with legal in terms of your rights. And it was already passed the United Nations, but it's going to close down. And I think in 4 more years, I heard it on the YouTube from this one brother, a Hebrew brother, who helps people with their land, how to start their lands, the right paperwork. I mean, real good brother. And I'm gonna forward some information to you guys and tell me, just so you guys to see, maybe it can help. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, but we thank you guys, for coming on to the show.
Definitely.
And we definitely going to keep contact. I think, do we have you guys contact information? We already have their contact information. Okay, good.
Yep. Well, right, so and guys, shout out.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. You definitely can.
Okay, yeah. Just wanted to say thank you for having us on your podcast. You know, definitely appreciate the opportunity. And you know, just thank you for, you know, the listening and opening up your platform, and for having this platform and for listening. So just wanted to extend some gratitude to all of you. And then if you want to follow me on social media, it's Piper Carter. I'm on all social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and it's just PiperCarter. You know, hit me on social media, or if you don't do social media, you can hit me on pipercarter@gmail. And also appreciate the Black Farmer Land Fund for granting me the opportunity to be able to purchase some land that I'm going to turn into a community garden and farmers market for our community. So,
Wow.
and thank you to everyone that's listening, and keep listening to this podcast and keep sharing it. And just wishing all of y'all blessings, and anybody that was impacted by COVID in this moment. We getting ready to move into a new year. So just sending everybody some fresh energy, some loving energy, and some peace and positive blessings.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
All right. Okay.
All righty.
So do you have anything, Miss T? Do you have any contact information? What you guys doing, a nonprofit, whatever?
Sure. If you could check us out at keepgrowingdetroit.org. You can follow Detroit Black Farmer Land Fund on Facebook. And you can always hit me on my email if you need any support with land purchase. If I can help you, I will.
Good.
And thanks for having us.
No problem.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
All right, guys. We thank you for coming on. RW3, lady, lovely. Stay on real quick. And guys, we thank you for we want you to like and share. We know we get a lot more hits once it goes on. People look at it. We get, I think we got about 800 hits, but views. So it's people that definitely going to watch it. And we just want you to like and share. Reach out to these two individuals who are grinding within the city to make a difference within the city. Miss Piper, Miss T, reach out to them in those platforms so that you can be well educated in this area. It's definitely something that we need to be educated in and learn more about it. So you can watch us again every Sunday at 4:40, guys. And I sometimes do pop-ups so that to keep you guys tuned in to what we're going to be doing. Here's the link. Go to those pages. And guys, we look forward to seeing you.
That's right.
And guys, we thank you for coming to the pod. Peace out. All right. Talk to you soon.